and welcome back again to another live streaming session with Paintology. So, Paintology, as you know, is a nice little drawing app that you can download from the Google Play Store. And I have it installed on this phone where we're going to make another finger painting drawing. As you know, if you've checked some of my videos, you'll see that I do make a lot of drawings, but they are usually around a stylus. But recently I've been doing more with my finger, and I find that I can be a little bit more creative with the finger, and I guess a lot of people will also want to use their fingers in trying to draw on the phone. So let's go ahead and open up Paintology from the screen. And this is the drawing we're going to do. I've already loaded this, and it's particularly special to me because I also wrote a poem about this drawing, and I can show you. Here, this is my old poetry site, and I've loaded this particular, I call it the Fairy Sun, and you can read it and get inspired. So it talks about the horse as the main, as something where a lot of them us took for granted for many centuries. But this drawing here, as you can see, is again a lovely sunset with this horse in the foreground with the grass at in the front here, and with the nice sunset, which something similar to which I did a few days ago. So if you're acquainted with that previous drawing, you will know that I have used the shade for the background and the harsh line brush for the foreground, and that's what we're going to do. So the first thing, step one, is to pick out a background color, and as you can see, I I think this particular background color here would be more appropriate. So we're going to select the color picker, clear out the previous, and then pick this color, and you'll notice that this color has popped in here, and then we're going to turn that, select the background. But since you've already done something, click the back again, go back and undo. Then this will open up and you can select the color. Okay, so now you have that color there. So the first thing is, if you want to, is we could just do the shading around this area. So we select the shade brush, take it all the way, shade brush here, and then set it to about 11%, and just simply shade this. You don't know what color that is unless you try it. See, it's a little darker, so it's darker at the top, and you expect that in, was if you look at the sunset, you'll see it's darker away from the sun right at the top. And keep picking the brush, and you need to just adjust it so you can fill the area. Okay. Pick this one. Comes right in the middle here. So we've got here. Let's go down here and see what we have here. So we have this, but this lightened from that. You see the colors changed as well. So this is the effect of the sun shining through the clouds, giving that orange hue. We won't do, well, we might as well do this as well. It's no harm in doing these these clouds that we're going to do anyway. So you might as well do it. But there's no details added to it. There's no one way of doing this. I just pick a method that works for me. Yeah. So don't think something has to be done in the exact manner. See the orange hue that's coming to it. So we're just laying down a foundation, and because I'm going to lay down the foreground in, as you can guess if you've followed, I'm going to be using, let's take that down. Okay, and then take this color. Okay, I'll be using the line brush. Okay, so this, because the clouds are hazy, so I'm trying to develop the same setting as I can. So oops, let's see what it looks like. Okay, that's fine. And then perhaps we can also keep this brush and switch to the line brush. Line 100%, that's fine. And then pick these colors and maybe go down a bit, because remember the foreground has details. So you might want to reduce it for the foreground. Again, as you know, we keep this trace position in the midway position here, just at the top half. The reason for doing that is that we can pick the colors from the reference image. If we're in the lower half of the trace bar, like here, we will be picking the color from our drawing. But right now we don't have anything much, so we just want to transfer some of these colors that are these wonderful colors on the reference image using our color picker, and just keep going through it. You can spend a few minutes just go through this. Depending on how much detail you want, you could either increase or decrease the brush size. And I'm using my middle finger in making this drawing. So again, you see how I pick up colors. This way of picking colors really helps you appreciate what these tones are, how these tones change. Remember, when the tone is dark, it's really hard for the eye to distinguish these tones, because the eyes need a lot of light. That's why we make the mistake of not fully appreciating tones. And we can make the mistake that a light tone against a dark object nearby appears a lot lighter, but in reality it doesn't, because the eyes need to, the pupils get bigger when you actually see a dark tone, because the pupil want to see more details on that darker area, and then it hence creates the lighter region. It accentuates, amplifies the lighter region. So artists always can make that mistake, but not if you do it this way, because you're picking the exact tone balance. So we're just going through the foreground really rapidly with what I call a block coloring method, where we pick the colors in that region and then we just simply scribbling over it. Nothing special, nothing particular, but it renders the color that is on the reference image. And look, I'm not even worried about my strokes. Look how many colors we've picked. You see? This is where you get better in drawing, in understanding. I found that over time as I draw like this, my eyes can pick out variations in tonal values. And it's one of the reasons why I can make photorealistic drawings as well. Because I've trained my eye to pick out these colors, because as I'm doing it, I can see how the colors are changing. So just go over it very quickly. I've got it at 4%. You can select whatever size that fits you, makes you comfortable. Go through it like this using my fingers. Okay. Then I simply find regions that look close to looks different from each other, and then that's how I sort of tend to do the block coloring. You can see here I've found a region here that is lighter, and then I find another region here adjacent to it, and then another region here. And the reason I'm doing that is that they're all different colors. Look, you may not notice, but they're all variations of the same color, but they're different. They'll have a different hex. Okay, so I don't know what the fact that you're doing this also creates a type of a texture to the whole drawing. You're basically using your fingers to lay down the colors and creating broad textures, and we can go in detail as we go in the second pass. You remember I keep talking to you about using different pass of your drawing. I never make a drawing in a single pass unless I'm doing an illustration, and you should think the same way with drawing. You'll notice all good artists will build up their drawing, and this is where some artists make the mistake that you need layers to build up the drawing. Layers are used for illustrations, graphics. Here I'm using the same drawing to build up the layers using different passes of the drawing. The first pass is very broad pass with a larger brush size. Second pass will be similarly looking at the drawing and seeing where the deficiencies are. Remember what I said about if you don't put down the first pass, you won't move to the second pass. It's like that. So you've done the first pass and you'll see deficiencies in your drawing. You move to the next. You do the painting for the first pass, and then the second pass will tell you what to do for that second phase of the drawing, which is another pass. And because you've already laid down the initial pass of the drawing, if you didn't, you'd be working with a blank canvas. But I'll show you what I'm saying when I've finished this very quickly. I'll explain more. I think you probably will appreciate what I'm trying to say. So as you go through like that, you don't have to think about, oh, I have to use layers. And a lot of people who come, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze, but a lot of people who come and see this app, they go, hasn't got the tools, hasn't got the brushes, and so what if you can create a brush, hasn't got that, hasn't got this, what? Are you sort of become too dependent on the tools? Yeah, people make great drawings with the pencil and paper. You should be learning the skills of drawing that has been around for eons. And the skills of drawing comes from understanding these fundamental points I'm telling you, which are the tones. You must have heard artists go on about tones. Okay, let's go here and let's see what it looks like. You see, we've done the first pass. If I didn't get to this stage, you'd be looking at a blank canvas and starting from scratch. This is where beginners totally make the mistake. They think that they have to produce a drawing in one pass. Sorry, that doesn't work. If I were to make a drawing in one pass, I would be Superman in drawing. I cannot do that. Nobody can. And you have to continue to build up. You'll see how I continue to build up this drawing. That, I would say, is my first pass. Now I can look and see where I need to do by comparing the original reference and where I am on the drawing. Right? I am, sorry, I am here, and you can see the solidity of the foreground, which is what I wanted, and the diffused nature of the clouds, which makes this drawing more appealing. So now I can see what I want to do. Before I do the horse, you may be tempted to do the horse. I want to sort of get smaller brush and get the details of the shade out the way, including the sun settling behind the horizon. So let's go here and let's continue with our shade brush that we left off, and maybe take it down a few 3%, and then just just sort of get that, because we're going to draw the horse naturally. Just get the tones around it. We don't have to go all the way because we're going to have to draw the the, uh, the horse, yeah. So, but let's just lay down those tones here, and then check to see if you've got it down. And then you notice that this is yellow, so we're gonna do that yellow. Why not? Yeah, there. Okay, we're just trying to get to the tones that are around this. So I would prefer to do that, then do the horse. It makes sense, right? Pick this yellow color. And don't worry about getting it right again. Not interested. All you're interested is to get something in the background, and the foreground will come later. Look at how these beautiful colors come into action. as you go through. Then here. Okay, don't worry if it goes over. Don't forget to save as well. Even though the application saves it, good idea to save your drawing now and then, just in case, anything happens. I got into a habit doing that. So now we're just developing the towns. Again, this time I'm using my smaller finger, which is, I don't know what they call it, next to the thumb, because I automatically using this finger because I probably have better control, and when I was doing the broader strokes, the larger finger worked quite well. Alright, so again, do that. It's quite nice. It's quite nice doing this because it's very therapeutic, like drawing, isn't it? And I'm not using any tools. I'm not jumped into any tools. No, I'm just drawing, and this is what drawing should be. Simply drawing, not trying to battle with the tools. Well, what tool should I use now for this? Simply drawing. Same brush. Two brushes I'm using. Selecting the color picker. You can keep checking back to see if the drawing is coming out. Just go over. You can go quickly and go over. Okay. Just around the horse, because we have enough bandwidth or enough areas to work without upsetting the horse. Okay, let's see what that looks like. All right, so very interesting, isn't it? That you can see it looks. You can see you can see how your eyes were. I thought that I didn't have it to the left, but you can see how I created the outline of the horse by automatically going on doing the outline. I actually thought I had the horse showing through from the reference image, but it's not. This is how we've created the outline. Notice it's not actually going to this. It's because we created the around it, created them. That's why it looks the shape of a horse. Okay, so we can clean it up now, and we can do that by staying on our canvas, increase the brush size a little bit, and then we can clean it up, right? Selecting that down. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we've got that, and now what we can do is let's just finish off this area here. Okay, and then okay, so this white is something I want to be done properly. So I've taken it all the way down, and then I'm going to still continue to work on this white. Make sure that's done, because that's one of the most focal, the important, because it's so light. Let's take it back and see what it looks like. Good. So now what can we do? Have a look at the original. You could either work on the clouds and work your way down and then tackle the foreground, but you could, since we've done the most of the, you could also work on the background and the fore, or the background and first and then the foreground, or the foreground and then the background. I think I'm going to, because the cloud's a little bit more forgiving and the foreground is more like darker tones, and I feel that I can make it pop if I just finish off the background with the clouds, swirling clouds, as you can see over there, and just finish it off, do it quickly, because that's more less forgiving to the eye. There's no harsh tones that you have to worry about here, as like in the foreground, which is also easily done with the line brush. So shade brush on the background and the foreground will leave, including the horse. I think, if you notice, the horse hasn't got a tail. I might bring it out a bit, just give it the appearance of a tail, perhaps. We'll see when we get there. So let's finish the clouds. So notice this lovely orange hue, and let's pick a color the size that would work for us. And then what we're going to do is we're going to keep alternating. All right, this works really well, isn't it? Oh, come on. We're going to increase that. That's the beauty of using the shade brush. Okay, so just follow it, don't get carried away. All right, and then this nice streak there. Maybe take that down a little bit, tad. So notice that around this region it's actually quite bright, so I'm gonna pick a different color on that, and then so I'm not exactly doing what to the shape of the cloud. I'm just using my fingers to create the illusion of clouds. Alright. And use your fingers to create that. And then there's a darker swirling cloud, right? Which we're going to get the color picker. Okay. Alright, so I'll increase it a little bit. These are a little bit darker. Reduce it a bit. Take that down a bit more. You see, you have to experiment. I can't tell you why I selected that. You have to do it by experimenting, and at the exact, not the exact size, but a close proximity to the size you want. this. Oops, oh god, my mistake. Let's go here, pick this color. You can see it's darker. Right, like turbulent clouds. Right, like it's the center of the eye. Oh, come on, this doesn't. I have to fix this because it's so hard to select that. Alright, so let's see what happens here. Okay, we got something there on the cloud front, and see this light area here is because of the sun. As you can see, the sun reflecting. So might as well make it even lighter, right? Add streaks. And let's see. Okay, so now we can decide how we're going to do this. We've got the black, so maybe what I'll do is we have the black already, so we can select these light tones and keep it that, and then just follow similar pattern to what's being shown. Notice that you got that lovely yellow, which we're going to switch to in a minute. And let's pick that yellow. So nice, isn't it? This. So make sure that when you're doing the strokes, you've got a good size brush. That's how you change it whenever you use your fingers. Okay, don't worry about getting it right. So yeah, so we have some dark tones here. And so it's important that you get that there. And here. Alright, I'm using sort of a stroke that would replicate these clouds, like a round swirly, and then increase it. And then we can always polish it up. Alright, so we got that, and we can definitely polish it up later on. So we got that. You can see how that changes. So we can go back. I'm thinking I'm gonna select a bigger brush size to get the overall dark streak that's appearing on here, and then just move it even bigger if you want to, so it looks like that, what you're seeing in the cloud. This is where you can get creative, so I'm just following this along to what I'm seeing, rather than creating something different. But this is where you can get really creative and do something different if you wanted to. See that darkness there? We need to perhaps check it down. And if it's not to your size, then let's take it down, yeah? Take down the size. That was funny with the horse. I thought I'd seen double or something. So you carrying this different color gives the illusion of depth. See how dark that is there on the other side of the screen? That's because the light's not hitting it as much. And take that down. Alright, let's see what we've got here. Okay. Alright, let's save that. Okay. And let's have a good look at it. So yeah, it's coming out. I will probably touch up the top clouds a little bit more. And then we'll just carry on from there. So let's actually work on the horse, I think, because I think we can get there. And then remember, this is another pass. Don't expect the clouds or anything to have finished, because when I look at the whole composition with after I've done a few passes, then I can see areas that need retouching, and I will do it to my own satisfaction, and I will apply the skills I've learned to doing that. If you haven't got acquired the skills by practicing, then you'll have a hard time and you may give up easily. But the point is that I'm trying to show you what I can do, and if you can't, obviously I don't expect you to get to my level, but you will see how wonderful it can be to get those essential skills in drawing and artistry, which is different to how many artists who do digital drawing, they use the nice tools, and as a result they can only make, and honestly they can only make cartoon illustrations, anime, not real drawing like this, I think. Okay, so that's the color. Let's see how black it is. Again, let's go to the line brush. I sometimes like it at 70%, but you may prefer something different, because I thought sort of create a little bit of texture, and I'm going to show you this when I do some of the foreground. So let's fill this ghost horse. Okay, let's fill this. Keep picking the different colors, because you may, as I said, you're not going to know what colors these are, and that's what adds to the depth. So don't be fooled by the dark colors. They are very different colors. That's why I'm picking the color picker and not just using one. Okay, I've got it midway, and again I'm using the color picker because there may be more light that gets in. I've noticed since I started drawing with my fingers, I actually get a lot better at it. So let's see what it looks like, and let's move away. Yes, so that's the actual drawing. So you can see it's coming out quite nicely, and we can always touch it up. We've got the zoom function here. Let's get this guy in there. Let's see what that is. I can do it in one sweep, or I could take it down size and then just move here. This might be a different color. Oh, it's black. So I actually picked the wrong color. I went to my canvas. You can see, so I'm going to undo. Oops. Let's keep that there, but let's go here. Let's see that, and then take it down. All right, so keep going. And that little fence we want to do, yeah. So I'm going to take that down a bit. Don't ask me why I took it down. It's probably because I want more control, perhaps, over the fence. You could do it in one pass, but I'd like to make, like I'm used to traditional drawing where I build up the tone slowly, and this allows me to do that. By keeping the density more, I have to do more strokes. So in a way, I'm creating like a pencil effect of this by reducing the density. You can try it for yourself. Yeah, look, like see, and basically, right, and then you can still stick to the same brush size, and then I might reduce it just a tad and take it down. Then apply a bit of dark, and then let's see, right, same thing here. So got the same thing, stick to that. Yeah, so just make sure you keep the size relatively right. Doesn't have to be exact, but get it close to what it should be. Let's see if that's changed. So I'm looking at it and I notice the tones hasn't changed. So I'm continuing using the same tone. No, let's see what that looks like. All right. Let's see what that looks like. That's not bad, decent, right? Can't tell, can you? Only when you look close enough. So let's finish that off. Let's see how dark that looks. Let's pick the tone. And that. Right. That gives an impression of something interesting in the background. We can work on these details later. Don't worry about them right now. So again, take it down because remember while we're using the brush, let's create that illusion. I'm sorry if I'm not making sense, but you don't have to follow exactly what I say. You want to develop your own thinking behind a drawing. That's a bit hard there. So let's go down here and pick a different size. Okay. Right. Notice that this area is not quite black, but I'm just using the color picker to try and get close to what this is trying to show here. So trying to just fill these sharp areas that I've created with the previous brush and creating some kind of a texture type look, and you'll see it. So at least I'll have addressed this area where I used the previous bigger brush, and now I'm just creating this illusion of plant life that's seeing more of the sun. Alright, see how it gets darker towards that side, which that's what makes the whole painting look so, image looks so real and attractive. Alright, so that's where we are right now, and you'll probably notice that this looks like a big tail that he's got, but it's not. So should we go back to the line shade brush and let's just continue this area. Yeah, we can keep a big brush. Remember to save. Alright, so here I think we could go a little tad bigger. Alright, and might have to go over that fence. Okay. And just keep doing that. Every painting is different. That's why I like drawing. You're using something different all the time. And you should feel you're doing something different all the time. If not, you're gonna give up easily, trust me. And the reason why you're not doing something different all the time is because you're afraid of mistakes. Just go back to what Bob Ross said. They're not mistakes, they're accidents. I don't even call them accidents, I call them, they are part of learning. If you don't make mistakes, I can do one pass like a superhuman, make a nice drawing, a superhuman, like a realistic, hyper-realistic drawing. Yeah, so you can see here, it's looking quite nice, isn't it? Have you seen how the little foliage that I did gives the illusion that there is foliage, right? So now I can see right away we've got, this would probably be the third or fourth pass. And what we want to do is, all right, so we're gonna, sorry, it was my daughter. Okay, so let's go here, fill this areas in here, and then carry on what we were doing, fill that in. Notice I'm using shade. It doesn't matter, is it? It really doesn't matter. And for filling in this area. So let's turn back to the line. Okay. And let's pick these. Oops. Sorry. Let's pick a slightly. Alright, so here, so not too worried about the details. Yeah, it's just that you don't want that harsh edge showing. Otherwise it takes the eyes away from what it is. It could be, it doesn't look like it's part of the scene. Oops. Alright. Let's see what that part looks like. Yes, you could mistake it for being something else. So let's finish off. I'm thinking that now I've come to this stage, I can now focus on the foreground, and instead of making it look like a painting patches someone has painted over the grass, let's try and blend it or go over it through block coloring. It's up to you. So I'm thinking that I'm going to stick to a very small brush, 1%, and just go over it using the color picker. There's just one method of doing it. There's just one method of doing it. And then if that works, we can just keep selecting different. This is actually block coloring I was telling you about, because we want to add the textures. So I'm using the fingers to go over it very, very quickly. Yeah, picking these colors. And you'll notice that some texture will come alive using this. And it's very little effort on your part. Because what we're doing two things. We're picking the right color tones. Remember what I said about in dark areas, we don't know what these tones are. You will find that most drawings and paintings, when they get to the darker region, they always overlighten it. So I'm relying on the texture, which is the grassy effect, as well as the tones, which I'm picking out from the back. And then we can see what that looks like, yeah? And then we're doing it very quickly. So I've got it halfway so I can select the colors. Yeah, if you don't think about, okay, there's a dark and other patches, just keep doing using this flicking method. Okay. And then we'll see what that looks like, yeah? That's basically what we're doing is we're looking at something after we've closed our eyes and did something with our fingers, right? Okay, let's see what it looks like. Okay, sure. Oops, sorry. All right, so we haven't quite got rid of those patches. We haven't got quite rid of those patches, so we're going to maybe do keep doing it perhaps or not, or what we can do is we can actually use a little bit of the shading. So I'm going to show you how to diffuse this area, and then if you want a really quick shortcut to how to finish this, we will probably use that approach. Yeah, so let's keep it to the left side here, and let's zoom in, and let's pick this color, as you can see where it is, and let's go back to the line brush, increase the size a little bit, and then let's take the density really down because we want to merge these colors. Yeah, we don't want to make them look like grassy patches. Okay. Right, so here, this is a form of blending, and the reason I can get away with this blending is because remember the patch is very dark, and so whatever we do, the eyes is going to try and fill it in its own self. So remember, you carry the black color by first selecting it, and then you can carry it to the other region. Yeah, let's see what that looks like. So much better, isn't it? It's getting there. It's looking like there are patches that you'd expect in grassy lands. So again, this area looks like a pit, but let's try and see if we can merge this, blend this in. And then you can blend this in as well, right, like that. So you have this area of, sorry, there's some more sand coming from next door. I'm going to take that down. So my daughter happens to really like Paintology. She's made some really nice drawings herself, and because she watches me draw. So again, take it, carry the colors from the region. So I've got it at 25%, so it doesn't look too harsh. The reason I'm doing that is I don't want the regions to look patchy like a quilt work. Yeah? And then you can see for yourself that the eyes will blend everything in here. So here you could pick I'm picking the darker region. In fact, you can go down to create some effects as well at the same time. You can even carry some of this pink region to the neighboring regions. Right. All right. So now you have blending. Now it looks like it's hard to see. Notice I'm not using any reference image for this purpose. I'm just trying to get a composition of what this drawing looks like relative to everything else. So I'm gonna take it, and I feel like I gotta add some blacks. And this is where you can add the blacks. And depending on what hardness you have, it will come out quicker, or you have to build it. All right, so I can probably go up and add more black, giving the illusion of foliage, grass strands, right? Because everyone loves nature. Well, most people do, in my opinion, but that it becomes fixed. It's something you see every day almost, and it becomes fixed in your mind what nature actually looks like in reality. So again, take that down, and I'm going to increase the density a bit, take it all the way. You see, I'm experimenting, and I hope you get a chance to experiment as well. Right there, it looks like it is a field. Looks like it is the field that we wanted to make. So now, what can we do? Well, we can correct if the horse actually looks quite nice. So I'm going to tidy it up. Yep. Okay. All right. So we can go down really a lot down and try and do the rest of the horse correctly. And then remember his ears and his mane. So now you can use the neighboring color to make sure that it's close. So the areas looks light. Okay, so remember I said I was going to do let me just finish this. I was going to do a tail that looked more like that the horse had a nice tail. Well, we can do that, yeah? So we'll add that tail a little bit later, but here I'm not so happy with this kind of leg it has. So let's see what that looks like. All right, and then we'll do the tail. Okay, so all right, it's all right, I think. And then a bit of touch up. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I think it looks all right. And now what I'm gonna do is let's add, while we're on the black, let's add, use it to our effect and more details that we can add. So sort of different, we're having a different sort of the little tiny to give it the appearance that the plants are not just one size. All right, and then let's just look at the clouds. Let's think we can sort of spice up the clouds here. So on the, we can spice it up more, and let's do that. Use colors here. It's got to look realistic, hasn't it? Right. And then we can probably beef up this color, I think. I'm going to beef it up a bit. Right. And then take it a little bit orangey because we're close to the sun. And then this is where you can really play. Deep orange there, so keep it at that, yeah. And then black here. And then the yellow, I think we could probably improve this. Let's pick a little bit. Alright, and then remember you could use the adjacent color to make it more diffused. You just play with it. I'm not playing too much with it because I just want to stick to what it is. But if I were experimenting or trying to be creative, I would probably do something more different. But again, I think you'd probably agree that's probably done, although you feel you could increase that, make it more. Do you see how dynamic it was? I feel like I should go to the, but to do that, that's also doable. The line too. Let's see what that looks like. Yes, we could take that a bit more, like add a little bit of contrast. That's what it is, contrast. So it doesn't look like a diffused sky. Okay. All right, and then maybe the same thing here because we got the size right. So add a little bit of that. Like a bit more contrast. So, oops, screw that, and then I'll just fluff it up a little bit here. Fluff it up. Yeah, why not? All right, so I don't know what you think. You could play with it, keep playing with it. but that's just done with our fingers, which is not bad, is it? You can see how the variation of the line of the foreground gives it depth, with the sun so scaled away over there. So let's actually get this right. No, we're on a bigger brush, so take it down and then just clean up this little area. That's all. Let's get that darker, actually. All right. So there you have the sun. This is the actual drawing, as you can see, and I think it looks all right. I think I can get better with the clouds here. You'd probably agree, but I could. This is where you can carry on, and this is where you can get really, really creative. You can probably use a combination of the line brush on the clouds as well with the lower density. Okay, so I haven't done much, but this probably gives you an idea of what you can achieve. All right, so let's sign it and we'll say we're done. Line brush, take it down. What color should I pick? Oops, too harsh. Take it down. Oh, always make that mistake. You can see that I'm using my fingers because, having a hard time typing it. So there you are, Paintology, the drawing of the horse and sunset. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, keep practicing, and I hope you post this on the Paintology app in the community section. And I'm sure to give you some comments and feedback because I always look at that. And then if you like this, give a subscribe, please subscribe and thumbs up. And, anyone who's interested in drawing in traditional but finding it hard to move to the digital, I think this is a way forward without clambering onto digital tools to make drawings. So this is something that anyone could do. So I don't know how long we spent, over an hour, and hope to bring you another one again soon. Please comment if you have any interesting subjects you want to draw, and you'll find lots of portraits that I did with the finger, and the last one was with a deer. So please have a look at that and see you soon. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.